A mysterious signal from beyond the stars just activated, but only Superman can hear it. The Avengers Council is in emergency session, and Superman is their target. Hidden deep in his DNA is something not even he understands. It's not a weapon. It's a code. A multiversal origin code. And it's beginning to rewrite reality, starting with Earth. The skies above Earth flickered. At first, it looked like lightning trapped in daylight. Bright, jagged pulses skipping across the clouds. But then came the sound. A low, rumbling hum, too deep for human ears, but not for him. In the fortress of solitude, Superman snapped awake. His heart was pounding, not out of fear, but recognition. The sound wasn't noise. It was a signal, ancient, familiar, and it was calling him by name. Kal-El, you are the last anchor. The origin must awaken. Across the world, heroes and scientists scrambled for answers. In Wakanda, Shuri ran seismic diagnostics. In New Asgard, Heimdall's relics lit up with forgotten glyphs. And on Stark Tower, Friday pinged Tony with a warning. Unusual frequency detected. Layered inside quantum vacuum fluctuations. It's not terrestrial, it's biological. DNA Stark's lab, emergency briefing. Tony Stark gathered them all on holocall. Thor, Bruce Banner, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, and even a projection of Professor X. Each of them had seen it, but only Stark had cracked it. It's embedded inside Superman's DNA, Tony said, pacing. Some kind of self-replicating code. A trigger. And whatever it is, it just turned on. Thor scowled. You're saying the boy's blood is a bomb? No, Bruce corrected him. He's not the bomb. He's the key. Doctor Strange raised a brow. To what? Not what. When? Stark paused the screen, zooming in. This isn't just genetic. It's temporal. Dimensional. Whatever this is, it's rewriting probability itself. Ice Cube Superman's discovery, Arctic depths. Back in the Arctic, Superman flew into the deepest chamber of the fortress. He placed his hand on a glowing wall, one he had never touched before. Instantly, the wall dissolved, revealing a hidden vault. Inside, floating weightlessly, was a prism-shaped object glowing with ancient light. It pulsed as he stepped near. Words etched into the metal in an alien dialect began to rearrange themselves into Kryptonian. You are the final anchor, the last of the Vault-born. Awaken the origin core. He touched it, and his eyes turned silver. Instantly, vision slammed into his mind. Galaxies collapsing, Earths burning, alternate versions of himself dying. Some as heroes, others as tyrants. One version wore black armor and destroyed the Avengers Council. Another was hunted by Batman until the end of time. But all of them were drawn to the same object, the origin core. Robot face, the Council grows afraid. In Avengers Tower, a private emergency meeting was called. The Council had reconvened. No cameras, no reporters, just the strongest minds and powers on Earth. Captain Marvel slammed her fist on the table. This isn't paranoia anymore. Something is changing, quantum shifts, time loops, entire months disappearing from galactic logs. Doctor Strange leaned forward. The multiverse is cracking. That core, whatever it is a beacon. And only Kal-El can access it. But does he even understand what it is? Asked Banner. Stark sighed. I don't think he knows, but the core does. They turned toward the chair at the end of the table, the one left empty. Thor looked down solemnly. Shall we vote? Radioactive, the first encounter. Superman hovered above Earth's atmosphere, staring at the stars. In his hand, the origin core. It pulsed, showing him timelines. Futures he could choose. Pasts he could erase. But every vision ended with a single phrase. One world must survive. The rest must be collapsed. A soft voice behind him. That thing doesn't belong to you, Clark. Iron Man. Neither do the choices it's offering you. Superman turned. It's not offering. It's warning me. Then give it to us. Let the Council decide. Superman frowned. Last time a council decided for Krypton, it burned. In one instant, Iron Man's palm cannon glowed blue. In the next, Superman vanished. Crystal ball dream of the past, glimpse of the end. That night, Clark Kent dreamt again. He stood on a ruined Earth, not one he recognized, but one that knew him. Giant statues of Superman. Some worshipped, others shattered. Alien creatures knelt in prayer. In the sky, a silver moon with the same mark as the origin core. Behind him, a voice, his own, deeper, colder. You can't stop what's coming. You are the equation now. He turned and saw himself. But this version wore silver armor, eyes glowing like stars. No warmth, no mercy. And behind that Superman floated a burning Avengers Council chamber. Brain Bruce's realization. In a secret lab beneath New York, Bruce ran one final simulation. What would happen if the origin code completed its sequence? The results made his blood run cold. It doesn't just unlock knowledge or power. It chooses the dominant reality. All other timelines will be erased, including ours. He whispered into the calm. Tony, we need to stop him. Not because he's a threat, but because if we don't, we won't exist to regret it. The spark of war. A shadow crossed the moon. Then a flash. Superman stood alone on the lunar surface, the origin core spinning above his hand. Back on Earth, the Council cast their first vote. 6 voices. 4 voted containment. 1 abstained. 1, Thor, said, I will not turn on my brother. But the motion passed. Superman was now a global threat. Inside a hollow dimension stitched between time, the Avengers Council met in secret. It wasn't Earth, nor any place Superman could hear them. Doctor Strange had cast 12 layered cloaking spells, reinforced by Wakandan vibranium barriers and reinforced psychic shielding from Professor X. The decision had been made. But now the vote was next. Iron Man broke the silence. We're not just voting on Superman. We're voting on whether we let a god decide the fate of every timeline. And I don't trust anyone, not even Clark Kent, with that power. Black Panther's AI projection flickered beside him. Nor do I. Wakanda's records speak of the origin core, a relic from the Vault-born era. Anything tied to that should be destroyed. Thor gripped his hammer tightly. You speak of my friend, my comrade. He has saved this world more than any of us. If the core speaks to him, it is for a reason. Captain Marvel leaned forward. Exactly. And what if that reason isn't good? Cross swords, tension cracks the council. Doctor Strange showed them a vision. Timelines where Superman merged with the core, becoming a being capable of wiping entire multiverses in seconds. He becomes inevitable, Strange whispered. Not because he wants to, but because the core chooses its host, and it never lets go. Professor X added, his voice firm. Even the strongest mind can be twisted, and Kal-El's mind is already being influenced. Stark nodded, opening a shimmering display. I've designed a nanotech failsafe. It doesn't kill him, but it locks his neural access to the core. Tony, Thor warned, we won't use it unless he turns. But we need insurance. Drop of blood. Thor's dilemma. After the meeting, Thor stood alone on a mountain peak, storm clouds forming behind him. He remembered flying beside Clark, laughing, saving people. He remembered how Clark cradled a child out of a burning plane before even punching the villain. You were never a god to them, Thor whispered. You were better. Behind him, a voice. Then let's hope he still is. It was Captain America, returning from retirement just for this vote. You know what happens when councils vote out of fear? Thor nodded. A war starts. Cap replied, and sometimes you lose your brother. Magnifying glass tilted left. Superman awakens the vault. Beneath the Fortress of Solitude, the core floated in midair, pulsing faster now. As Clark stepped closer, it unleashed a surge of energy, showing him a city built inside a black star. The ancient seat of the architects. Voices echoed in his mind. One anchor, one choice. Collapse the unworthy. Secure the true line. Superman fell to his knees, bleeding light from his eyes. Suddenly, a voice called out, You're not ready. He turned and saw himself. But this Superman had no warmth in his eyes. His suit was dark, his symbol twisted, his voice hollow. I made the choice. I killed the council. I saved my Earth. You'll do the same. No, Clark growled. I'll find another way. Robot faced Tony's secret weapon. Back at Stark Tower, Tony activated Project Null Zero, a custom-built armor designed for one target, Superman. If it comes to it, he muttered, locking the AI to only respond to council members' biometric IDs. We end it quickly. Friday hesitated. Sir, do you think he'll forgive you if you're wrong? Tony looked up at the hologram of Lois Lane, glowing faintly in Superman's digital archive. No, but I'd rather he hates me than Earth dies loving him. Brain, the vote is cast. The council met again. Time was running out. Dr. Strange called the vote. Tony Stark, contain him. Captain Marvel, contain him. Black Panther AI, contain him. Professor X, contain him. Dr. Strange abstained. Thor refused. Captain America, he needs help. Not handcuffs. Against. The motion passed. Superman was now officially classified as a multiversal hazard class Omega, the highest level of threat. Police car light ending scene. Superman hears it. That night, as Clark floated over the Earth's upper orbit, watching the stars, a whisper ran through his ears. They voted. He turned sharply. No one was there. But deep within him, he knew. They were coming for him. His jaw tightened. The core pulsed behind his ribs. And far across the solar system, a gate opened. The remnants, twisted versions of himself, were waking. And Earth's time was almost up. The escape plan. Superman was gone. Not just hidden, off the grid, out of every dimension Stark's satellites could scan. Dr. Strange's mystical tracking spells dissolved midcast. Even Professor X's mental reach, stretching across galaxies, found nothing. But Tony Stark wasn't convinced. He's still in the solar system, Stark said coldly. He didn't run. He's planning something. Shuri disagreed. Why would he run if he wasn't afraid? Stark replied, because he's not hiding from us. He's hiding from it. The core. On Mars, hidden deep within Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system, Superman stood silently at the crater's edge. The origin core floated beside him, humming softly like a heartbeat. He gently pushed it into the crater's abyss, where gravity warped time. No more visions. No more timelines. No more death, he whispered. If the core is lost, maybe this ends. But just as it vanished from view, a blue pulse erupted from the pit, followed by a voice. You can't bury what you are, Kal-El. He turned sharply. Nebula and Rocket Raccoon stood behind him, cloaked in stolen Kree stealth suits. Don't worry, Rocket said. We're not here to stop you. We're here to sell what you just threw away. Superman frowned. You tracked me. Nebula stepped forward. You activated a multiversal weapon and expected no one to notice? Before he could answer, her suit transmitted a direct signal back to Earth. In Avengers Tower, the alert hit instantly. Location, Olympus Mons. Object, Origin Core. Status, reactivated. Tony's fingers flew across the console. He's trying to hide it, not use it. But the core is alive. And it's broadcasting something. Broadcasting what? Banner asked. Stark stared at the waveform, then froze. It's not a signal, it's a countdown. Meanwhile, in the Council's shadow chambers, Captain Marvel confronted Thor. We need to end this. Stark's tech is ready. You either stand with us or against everything Earth has built. Thor didn't flinch. I don't stand with fear. Then you stand with him, she snapped. But Thor was already walking away. No, I stand with truth. And truth is, we're acting like cowards. Carol's fists glowed with cosmic fire. One more step, and we make you choose. But Thor just smirked. Then make me. Back on Mars, Superman blasted into the sky, clutching the core, launching into deep space. But just as he reached escape velocity, a wave of nanobots swarmed him mid-flight. They latched onto his suit, crawling toward his spine. His vision blurred. Muscles seized. He crashed into an asteroid belt, the core tumbling from his grip. Behind him, a red and gold figure emerged from cloak mode. Iron Man. But not just any armor. Project Null Zero. Titanium vibranium hybrid, pulsing with architect energy. Don't fight Clark. Just sleep. Superman gritted his teeth, fighting the nanites eating through his nerves. You betrayed me. Tony's voice came through the mask. I trusted you. I defended you. Until you started rewriting time. I didn't activate the core, it chose me. Exactly, Stark said. That's why we can't let you keep it. With a gesture, Iron Man released a surge pulse, disabling Superman's mind for a split second. It was enough. The core was ripped from his hand, snatched mid-air by a stealth drone. Core secured, Friday confirmed. But at that moment, it all went wrong. The core pulsed red. The drone disintegrated. A portal tore open in the fabric of space. And out of it came them. Dozens of beings, shaped like Superman but twisted, scarred, mutated, each from a different collapsed timeline. One wore a crown made of broken worlds. Another dragged a shattered Batman's corpse. Some looked noble. Others looked monstrous. They all spoke in unison. You are the final anchor. The core must be completed. All other lines must fall. Tony backed away. What the hell are they? Superman rose slowly, eyes blazing. They're me. From every timeline the core tried to fix. One stepped forward, his symbol cracked, his cape tattered, his face cold. I am Echo Prime. I accepted the burden. You rejected it. Now you must be erased. Tony fired a full blast, useless. Superman lunged toward the core, but the remnants were faster. Back on Earth, the Council received the alert. Multiversal breach. Mars. Category Apocalypse class. Carol turned to Thor. Still think we were overreacting? Thor's eyes widened. This isn't just about Clark anymore. It never was. Professor X, watching through his mind link, whispered. This was never about stopping Superman. It was about choosing the right one. Rise of the Echoes. The sky over Earth turned black at noon. From orbit, you could see it, a massive rift bleeding energy into space, surrounded by glowing red sigils, echoing with alien whispers. The breach from Mars had widened, and now the remnants were coming. Each one was a version of Superman from destroyed timelines. Some wore armor. Others had no face. Some wept. Others smiled like devils. But all of them were broken echoes of the same truth. The core must choose one reality. All others must be erased. Inside Avengers Tower, panic bloomed. Shuri's voice crackled through the intercom. They're not invading. They're converging, merging into a single, dominant frequency. They're trying to overwrite us. Doctor Strange hovered above the sanctum, casting runes into the sky, but even he looked afraid. Reality is folding inward, not collapsing, compressing. Every Earth, every version of history, is being drawn into the core's center. That means only one can survive. Captain Marvel hovered beside him. Then we fight to protect ours. But Strange shook his head. This isn't a war of fists. This is a war of fate. In deep space, Superman faced Echo Prime, the leader of the remnants. This Echo was ancient, his eyes empty, his voice like thunder. We accepted the burden. You denied it. You are the anomaly. The core must finalize. Superman stood tall. I won't choose who lives and who dies. Echo Prime raised a hand. Then the core will choose for you. Suddenly, the remnants moved. They didn't fly. They blinked, twisted, flickered across dimensions. They attacked Iron Man, tearing through his null-zero armor in seconds. Superman barely caught him as Tony spiraled unconscious into space. Back on Earth, Thor and Captain America led ground defenses. Portals opened above cities. Citizens saw dozens of glowing figures, alternate Supermen, fighting each other in the skies, tearing open buildings, rewriting gravity. One remnant flew into Wakanda and screamed a sound wave that aged people instantly. Another landed in Tokyo, his very shadow turning people into glass. The world was watching. News stations broadcasted the chaos live. Every human was seeing what Superman could become. Fear spread like wildfire. Inside the Fortress of Solitude, Vala, the architect's AI embedded inside the origin core, fully awakened. A holographic woman made of starlight appeared before Superman. You are the anchor. Accept fusion and overwrite the broken strands. Bring stability. Become the final god. Superman asked, and if I refuse? Vala's glow dimmed. Then all will fade. The echoes will tear the threads apart. And you will die as a failed anchor. Superman looked down at his hands, shaking, bleeding, glowing with core light. I won't become a god. I'll become a shield. He flew back toward Earth. The council regrouped in a damaged Avengers Tower. Banner was injured. Strange was collapsing. Iron Man was unconscious. Captain Marvel turned to Thor. It's now or never. Do we end him? Thor stared at the sky, at Clark, now surrounded by a golden aura, hovering like a sun above the storm. No, we stand with him. Captain Marvel raised a brow. Even if it means the end of our reality. Thor nodded slowly. If he falls, it's the end either way. Superman reached the breach in the sky. The core pulsed at his chest, burning symbols into his skin. The remnants formed a ring around him. Their voices won. Choose, choose, choose. But Superman didn't speak. Instead, he closed his eyes and let the core enter his mind fully. He saw it all. Every Earth, every death, every child saved, every villain stopped, every possible version of himself. Then he made a different choice. He pulled all his remaining energy inward, whispering, no more gods, no more fragments, no more fear. And then he imploded, unleashing a wave of pure timeline energy that vaporized the remnants instantly. But the blast didn't destroy the core. It fused it with him. Superman collapsed to the ground, unconscious, glowing. The sky turned blue again. Reality held. For now. The world was quiet. Skies were clear. Time flowed normally. Cities bustled again. People laughed, worked, lived, as if nothing had ever gone wrong. The breach was gone. The remnants erased. No one remembered the collapse. No one except Batman. Deep beneath the ruins of the Batcave, Bruce Wayne stared at a glowing red file on his cracked terminal. Label: Anchor Protocol, Last Known Core Events. He had no memory of how he got it, but he remembered this. Superman's final words before the timeline reset. Tell them, I chose them. Bruce hadn't spoken to the council since the blast. Something about him unsettled them, as if he remembered too much. In Metropolis, Clark Kent awoke in his apartment. Shirtless, sweaty, confused. Lois leaned in. Bad dream. He blinked. Yeah, just a weird one. But in the mirror behind her, for a fraction of a second, his eyes glowed silver. He shook it off. But something felt wrong. Off. As if the world was too perfect. Like a memory rewritten too many times. At Avengers Tower, Stark, Strange, Thor, and Captain Marvel met for the final council session. There's no evidence of a core, Tony said. Scans are clean. Earth is stable. But is he stable? Carol asked, crossing her arms. Strange stayed quiet. He had tried probing Clark's aura days ago, and found nothing. It was like trying to read a blank book sealed in fire. Thor shook his head. He's not the same. I see it in his silence. You mean peace? Stark asked. No, Thor said softly. I mean restraint. Like a storm deciding not to strike. Outside the council chamber, a message arrived, sent from a hidden source. Encrypted. Untraceable. The subject line. The core is not gone. Inside the file, a video. It showed Superman hovering over Earth, alone, eyes glowing like white suns, and a voice, his own, saying, this was never about power. It was about responsibility. But if they force me to choose again, I won't hold back. The council fell into stunned silence. Carol stood first. We vote. Now. They didn't broadcast it. They didn't tell the world. They simply voted on whether to keep watching Superman or to take preemptive action again. This time, the split was deeper. Iron Man, he's holding back. That scares me more than his power. Vote. Watch with weapons ready. Captain Marvel, he saved the world, but I don't trust him to do it twice. Vote. Contain. Doctor Strange, his soul isn't corrupted, but it's changed. Vote. Watch. Thor. If we act in fear again, we'll become the very remnants we fought. Vote, leave him be. Bruce Wayne, via message, he gave us peace. But peace with a countdown. Vote, unknown. The motion failed. No majority. No action. Just one instruction. Wait. And watch. Later that night, Superman stood alone on the moon, staring at Earth. Behind him, a shimmer of light formed. Vala, the architect AI. Now only a whisper in his mind. You denied divinity. You chose mortality. Clark didn't answer. But the core still lives within you. When the next breach begins, will you choose again? He stared silently, then clenched his fists. No, he whispered. This time, I end it. His cape whipped around him as he took off, vanishing into deep space. Final scene. In a small African village, a boy sketched a symbol in the dirt. A familiar S inside a diamond. Who is that? His sister asked. He smiled. The man who saved everyone, and no one remembers. She looked up at the sky. Do you think he'll come back? He nodded. He never left. The end.